Robert, we made it. We made it
Finale.
to the end.
This is the finale. Season 1
Bro.
finale. Daredevil Born Again. Well,
Episode 9, Straight to Hell, which
straight to
is
hell.
what I feel like this road has been straight to hell. But we made it. Hopefully, like I said, I'm still optimistic. Very, 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 very small
I hope they stick the
piece of
landing.
optimism. I
And
I just hope we get something, especially after the way last episode ended. I saw the runtime on this an hour,
an hour, yeah.
so hopefully they
Yeah, I mean, I'm
they
hoping they
use
stick
that
it.
hour wisely.
Yep.
But
And for
yeah, so
clarification, we have not seen this episode. This is going to be an actual raw reaction.
yes, raw, unedited, live, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a fun one.
All right. I mean,
Sure.
ready?
I'm ready if you are. Countdown.
I mean, we probably got to skip the recap first, right? So I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna press play real quick, and I'll see what it says.
Did you want to watch the full thing through, including the recap?
Nah,
No, just
not
go in.
really.
All right.
Yeah.
Hit and
All
play.
right.
3, 2, 1.
I skipped recap.
Still pulling from my end. All right, I've skipped recap. I am currently on 106.
Okay. I'm trying to. There we go.
Let me know as soon as you're ready.
I'm scrubbing backwards, but for some reason it's going forward. Disney Plus needs to get it together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think I'm. Nope, it says 108 now. What is it doing? You know what? That's what we're gonna do. I can't. And all right, I think I'm there. No, it went to 108. I don't know what it's doing.
Where are you at?
I'm trying to get to 106. All right, I'm skipping recap again.
Okay.
All right, I paused it. I'm at 106.
Okay.
Man,
Okay, so before we start it,
it's a struggle bus already.
final I wouldn't have it any other way. Any final predictions?
Prediction. Well, I mean,
Gonna happen?
every prediction I've made so far in the show has gone completely wrong. I mean, so I have seen set photos for season 2, so I know some characters make it. Okay, I know 2 characters that make it. I don't know. I think Vanessa's gonna die or go to jail.
Well, I would think die at this point because I mean she
Yeah,
was supposed to go to jail at the end of season 3, but
yeah.
he went for her, so now it's
So
like I don't know, but I'm still upset with what happened at the end of the last episode. So I guess we'll see where you go from. I don't know where you go, especially the way that it ended. It's like, okay, you have an hour to wrap it up. It either needs to be a time jump or
oh yeah, I mean there has to be, right?
something.
You can't just recover from getting shot.
Yeah. So I'm like, especially the way that he did. So I'm really curious to see what
Yeah.
happens. But I will say though, if they do a time jump too, it's also a cop out because of this is the last episode of the season,
Yeah.
and
I mean
it's
the
a
time.
cop out just to be like, oh,
Yeah, you're
jump
gonna
in
have a.
time.
Are you gonna have a time jump for the finale and then a time jump from season 1 to season 2? It's kind of a lot. It's like doing It's like doing
Yeah.
like 3, like I guess like when you start a movie, it's like, oh, it's his kid, and like the dude's a child, and then you do another one, he's a teenager, and then it's like that's just too many. Like you could tell that throughout the story. Like I don't know, but
Yeah.
I mean, I so 2 things that I think could happen, but I'm not sure if they're going to is 1, Vanessa dies. 2, Matt gets outed as Daredevil.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, it could definitely be like
Yeah.
who the knows at this point? Like I don't know. It's just it's so all over the place. They
Yeah.
already killed Muse.
Yeah.
they so there goes that theory of them both getting taken out.
By Muse.
Matt
Yeah.
got shot in place of like when you had the opportunity to kill them both right then and there. You choose to shoot Matt instead. So
Yep.
it's like it's very soap opera right now. Very like,
At this
oh
point, yeah. At this
yeah.
point,
So
yeah.
I don't know what could happen. The only thing I could think of is they're gonna have to do something fan service wise. Something fan service. They're gonna pull something out of there
Well, Frank
like they
Castle's
did
in
with
this one.
episode 5. Yeah,
Frank Castle's
I
able
already
to
had
show.
that spoiled with
Yeah.
the
The
before
the
we
header.
started. It's like
The
right
header.
there on the
Yeah.
header. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, you could have had anything
I mean,
else.
their scenes are always great, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you ready?
Ready as I'll ever
Let's
be.
let's get this started.
Is it 3, 2, 1, play?
Okay, loving the logo there.
Not feeling the music. Uh,
Okay, I was
one
about to
year
say,
ago, a flashback. So I was right
man,
about the time travel, just the wrong way.
I was gonna say no. Okay,
Okay, Nadine, got a shout out.
I will say I do like Wilson. What's his name? Wilson Bethel as Bullseye. I think he's a great actor. I think he played this role really well.
Oh, he kills it, dude.
Actually adds some humanity to the character.
Well, at least now he does, cause yeah, I guess he
Because I
did a
mean,
little bit in season 3.
yeah, I mean, Bullseye's not like exactly a character that's you. He's just straight up, insane killer. He has no redeemable qualities. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying he does too, but you at least kind of understand. They really went into giving him like a backstory.
Well, because they created him as a character first and foremost, and then
Yeah,
introduced him as Bullseye.
yeah.
Like it was like they made him his own thing.
You're free to go kill someone and then go to jail. So I'm gonna let the intro play so I can
Okay.
talk a little bit. Yeah, when I first saw the previous episode towards the end, you see him getting set in place with his gun. Oh, Tony Dalton's back. Um, oh, Deborah Ann Worrell. Okay. Yeah, he gets in place, and then I thought he's going after Vanessa, right? Because find out Vanessa's the one that sent him after, so might blame
Yeah.
her for him going to jail. But when they made the switch dancing partners, I was like, man, he's gonna probably think because the way they showed it, it was
Yes.
their backs. Vanessa's
Yes.
both
That's why I was
Vanessa and
hoping. Just like,
so I was like,
uh,
when I saw it, I was like, oh no, he's gonna mistake Vanessa for Matt's girlfriend, and he's gonna shoot
for
Matt's
Heather.
girlfriend. Yeah, yeah, I
I
completely
thought
forgot her
that's where it
name.
was going too. I was like, especially because of like the back and forth that Matt and Heather were having throughout the whole episode. It'd
Yeah,
just be like, okay, add to it that the regret and all that stuff, and then you can tie in the book, Man Without Fear, or
yep,
something like that. But no, they chose the cop out. They chose the soap opera. Like, oh my God, Matt got shot. Is he gonna die? Like,
I am kind of
it's like, come
curious
on, we know he's
why.
not gonna die.
Yeah, I am kind of curious why he would save Fisk. Like,
And it's
I mean, I
it's
guess
his
I
thing,
mean,
man. It's
unless you're playing 3D chess here, where it's like, oh, he can't do if he outs me as Daredevil and he has a stance against vigilantes, he's gonna be like, oh, Daredevil just saved Wilson Fisk, so he can't really. arrest him, or you know what I mean? Like it's kind of
Yeah. It
he
paints
wouldn't
that
be able to.
picture of like
Yeah.
how you gonna do that to the guy that saved your life.
Yep. Oh.
Noticed how he flinched first before he said her name though. It's all petty. She's gonna throw the water in his face.
How'd you know it's Poindexter? I mean, I know he knows, right? She's definitely a goner. That was funny
That will.
though.
Oh, she's got Rona.
Yep. Rabbit in a snowstorm with the blood.
Mm-hmm. Almost looks like a chicken or a rooster
It
on
kind of
his.
does, yeah. It really does.
Ugh,
Hmm.
ugh. I hate it. I hate it.
There's that word, optics. You know, Buck is warming up to me. He's no Wesley. I don't know why.
He hasn't done anything yet to
No,
like
but
sway me. Like, oh yeah,
you always love that loyal right hand, right? And what's the other guy's name? The Gandolfini's character? Is it
I
like
already
Daniel or
forgot.
something? Or
Daniel, yeah.
yeah, like he's just he's just a kiss ass, right?
Yeah, but see, at least that's a compelling character because there's something underneath that. Buck just feels like a faceless nobody. Like he's just like, oh, voice of reason. But he doesn't add anything to. Yeah, that's why I like her character more. If since we're talking about Buck, like her character is more compelling because there's actual like conflict,
Oh yeah,
but she's also like, she wants to be the best. She also believes in doing it a certain way, like all this stuff. Like that's compelling to me and entertaining to watch. With Buck, it just feels like everything that he's done, he's either said something very cliche or you know what I mean? It's just had we not had Wesley, maybe.
yeah.
But I mean, Wesley set a bar.
Oh yeah.
Gallows dead. I'm calling it right now.
Oh, 100
She's
percent.
she's betraying. She's gonna do it out of fear.
I mean, I thought Gallo was a given before we started the episode, so I was just like, my New York geography is off, but I think that was what Brooklyn and Queens and everything. Yeah,
You see Spider-Man swinging in the background, just slamming into a wall.
yeah. My New York geography is just based off those Spider-Man games.
What was the point of the song?
They had a little money left in the budget.
Yeah, let's blow some more money. Why not? They've done a bang up job so far.
Bet that's the first time New York's ever seen like the night sky like that.
First and last. Karen.
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 $1 million question.
Okay, so this will earn my good graces if Frank kills the entire squad, the task force. Would rival the Eastern Promises bathhouse fight scene.
So he just blatantly told, "Hey, out there it is." Cops using the logo, but like Kingpin just basically told him, "Hey, Daredevil lives there. Oh yeah, he's also Matt Murdock."
Oh,
No, there we go. Welcome back, Frank.
yes. Ah.
Nah,
I thought you threw that at Frank.
yeah, right.
Oof.
Where'd he tag Frank? Where'd he shoot him? Is his shoulder?
I think so.
God, dang! There we go. I'm glad Dizzy's not afraid to go at least this far.
Nice.
I don't think he's getting the deposit back on that apartment.
Oh, dang, that turned me up a little.
Yep.
Oh. Ah. The plot twist. Frank's not even there. It was all Matt the entire time.
Well,
So is he dead? Or
I
is
know, right?
did he survive?
Yeah, he gone. He gone now. I hope those are his shoes too.
Wait, was that Heather's apartment?
I think that was
Or
Matt's.
Matt's?
I think it was Matt's. Karen.
Mm-hmm. You can see that blonde hair from here. Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
You don't like Karen?
It's not that I don't like Karen. I don't like what they're doing with this episode.
Wait,
What's
was it? That wasn't Evan Peters, was it?
no?
As
It looked like it was though.
Ralph Boner? Man, that would have been great. That would
Oh
have been
dang,
fantastic.
that would have been a good name for the episode.
Mm.
back in season 2. Have they showed what's his face yet? The the other cop?
Cherry?
No, the bad guy,
Pa-
the one that got beat up
Powell?
by Matt in the second episode. Powell, yeah,
I don't.
or Cowl, whatever his name is.
I don't think so.
Quality.
This is a DEI hire.
Oof.
This is my where you see Powell.
This episode feels so weird.
How so?
I don't know. It feels off. Almost
Oh,
like from a completely different show.
oh there's Powell.
There he is.
Maybe he should stop wearing white suits. Every time that music comes on, I just think of Scream.
Yeah, the
And
third one.
yeah.
The-
Yep.
Hold on to the knife. So do I, Karen. So do I.
World on fire.
Mm-hmm. What?
So I have a feeling I know what he means by an army, but I'm gonna hold until.
Now it just got me thinking about the accountant.
So
The music, the music's
Frank is
throwing me off.
just Frank is still just getting punched. What's going on?
I guess so. Oh God. Oh God.
Cherry swordsman.
Ugh. Put a mask over her head too. Do it. What do you
I
think?
feel like
Skip
since we got the
credits or
skip
watch them?
credits, I don't know. Felt like if we have the option to skip, there's not going to be anything. But
Oh, it went away.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll just let them go.
Oh, okay, cool. Glad. And that's how we get our Punisher special.
Uh,
That's in my
and
allergy.
that was episode 9.
Season 1 finale.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
I was with it all the way up until it went from like daytime to night or nighttime to day. Like that just it seemed like a weird shift. Like I was with it all the way up, and then it just I don't know. It seems like they were like, oh, let's pivot and do something different.
That's all this episode was pivots.
Pause it.
So right, let's start from the beginning. One, we did not need the flashback with Vanessa, um, talking with Bullseye. We didn't need that. We already got the gist of it. They didn't tell us anything new. The only thing it did was it gave us, more time with Bullseye. But even at that, I mean, his character seemed a little different even from that, which could have been the meds, could have been whatever it was, but I don't know. I feel like they were going back and forth on his character too. Like it would have been more earned had he had like killed the wrong person, or if he felt remorse about what he had done. But you don't get that, especially from the first episode. Like it's even if you go prior to that, the end of season three, everything that happened, you don't get that. Fisk revealing his plan was ridiculous. The way it was illustrated, like, yes, when he's talking to Vanessa in the room, he's like, yes, this is what the plan has been all along. Like, just the way that he did it, like, that's not what Fisk would do. There would have been a different way they could have showcased that. But it was weird. It felt more like it was for the audience sake than for a conversation that he would have with Vanessa. Like he's more of a show than tell. He more like he would have taken her like, come with me, to this place, sort of like he did with the whole Adam scene
Yeah.
when he like took her to the building. They went down to the basement. Like that's what he does. He showcases things. This was more like a just, oh, I just need to tell you what I'm doing to get it over with. So that's like the beginning of what I didn't really care for. The thing that saved it though was the apartment fight scene that happened right
That was
after.
really good.
Yeah, it was a really good scene. Prior to that, like right before that happened, when Buck finally used his name, Buck.
Buck.
I've been calling him not Wesley for like the last 9 episodes. So Buck, just showing up there, and then the random soundtrack with the song playing, him going into the room, and then Matt's not there, and then walking out, and then the songs. Weird choice. Weird choice. Like I said, the apartment fight scene was pretty good. We never saw the guy die. We
Oh,
never saw Cole
yeah.
die. All we
Cold
did was
North.
see
Yeah.
Sue's. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like they could have cut like to after credit scene, and it would have just been. I just kept thinking of
Then again, the whole apartment exploded.
yeah, but I just kept thinking of Crossbones. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Karen showing up. I'm sorry, but too late for fan service. 9 episodes in, too late for that. And all of a sudden, I made a phone call. Yes, I'm here. Um, Matt discussing Foggy in the case with Karen. Again, too late in the show to have this conversation. Like I called it from episode 1. They were going to spread crumbs, and they were either going to try to tie up those loose ends, or they were going to leave them, and that's what they did. They were like, okay, now we want to bookend everything. Now we want to do it all within the hour. They could have been building up to it, but they didn't. They didn't build up to anything. It was just like, okay, here's all of it. Daniel with the council. I like that he's easing into this his smarmy role of like, I have a role of
Yeah.
power. Like I've
Little
enjoyed watch his
little mini
descent.
kingpin.
Yeah, like and I enjoy that because he's a character. Like it's like he's got flaws, he's got ambitions, he's driven and towards corruption, but he's also blinded by unbridled loyalty to Fisk. And it's just like seeing him view what power is and like just easing into that role. Like I like it, the smarminess. And then you just have not Wesley just chilling in the background, like literally fading into the back, like he's done all 9 episodes. The BB report, I was waiting for them to cut to her interviewing during the riot, like cutting like
Yeah.
in the middle of an actual riot. But it didn't happen. The cop framing the looter with the mask, I felt like that didn't go anywhere. It was just to show like, oh look, cops are bad.
All the cops are
Um,
becoming.
what's up?
Oh, it was basically just showing like all the cops are becoming, or at least most of the
Yeah,
cops are becoming corrupt.
dude, let's be real. Not most, all. The way that they were painting this, that
Yeah.
they've done all season is all
Not
of it.
Brett.
Not because we never saw Brett.
Hey, but if Brett was in Rosie's bar at the end, I would have lost it.
Yeah, if he was in Josie's bar right at the end, that would have been like, okay, cool. You know what?
That
Turk
was the
even in the
fan.
background would have made me
Yeah,
laugh.
that was the
But
fan service we needed.
yeah. You know what the sad thing is too, when they go to the storage locker and he's talking about the box with the avocados at law. There's a better season in that locker, just sitting there. Yeah, hey, you remember this? Oh, hey, I never got that joke. Oh, I was just sitting there, just thinking, man, it was such a good season. Simpler times, better times than this crap that we got. Again, the gist of this is there are no good cops.
Yeah,
That's all it was. Like it painted cops in such a bad light. Especially when he has the rookie when Gallows in the car and he's like, yeah, like I'm just doing what I can to survive. Speaking of Gallo, the head rip was so cheesy in a bad way though. Like it was I it looked bad. It looked bad. Like I wasn't for it. Um, Karen again dropping the, you remember this, you remember that. It again, I just kept thinking of the old series. I would rather be watching that than this. You said it a little while ago. The jump from night to day to we need an army. Boom. Like why? Why
yeah.
cut from that scene? Like it's uh, yeah, and they just leave Frank there. It's like I guess he's just gonna keep getting beat to death. He's not gonna die, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
And then Heather going to see Fisk. I'm like, okay, I get it. Now that Karen's back, quote unquote, if she's even back, or if it's just like, oh, I'm just here for this one episode and I'm jet setting in the
yeah.
next
She's
season.
back for next season. I don't know for how
Yeah,
many episodes, but she's back.
yeah. I mean, they have to because they probably realized just how bad this one was. They were like, we screwed up. We need to bring something in. And then the after credits scene. I mean, it was serviceable. It showed Frank. I mean, you could see what was coming. He was gonna do something.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, man, like I just no. This was probably more fan service than episode 5. Like the fan service in this one I hated this episode, man. I hated this episode. What's
I
your
don't
take?
think I don't think
That's
you
pretty much
enjoyed.
everything.
I think you didn't enjoy the series over at all.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Now,
Um,
now that we've finally gotten to the end, no, I can say
I
like I hated this
I think
piece of
it's
crap series.
I think I liked episode 9 up until that ending there. We're just like, okay, we need an army, and then it just transitions from night to day. That was kind of disjointed a little bit. Um, I don't mind them overall bookending. You know, you start the show with Foggy's death, and you kind of ending it with like the resolution. Well, not even you didn't even resolve it. But you find out Vanessa was the one, and I didn't mind them beginning the episode with Poindexter. I'm like, that's fine because some
But
people
the
want
final
all that.
episode though, but the
I mean,
finale
so
though,
that's the thing. So like, you can have a season of a show where, and here's where I'm gonna get into it, where like you can have a season of a show where it begins with something and then it concludes with the other, kind of like a murder mystery, right? And then you
yeah.
have like other things sprinkled throughout. But but they didn't spend the whole season like trying to investigate like anything. It was just like Foggy's dead. We don't know why. We're just gonna skip ahead. We just included it like it was just a madman. I'm like, here's where I think that the show overall could have been better. Like from a writing perspective, I think I would have omitted Muse altogether, even though I love the Muse.
How dare you?
No,
How
no,
dare you?
so no, no, no. It's not because it was bad. Like I loved it, and he deserves his own like season, right?
Yeah.
Or so I think episode 1 is fine as is. Like it's a decent premiere. It's kind of it's great. Ask questions. I don't like how it's kind of structurally set up, where it's like, oh, 1 year later. Like I missed the investigative part of like seasons 1, 2, and 3. Like you had that side Karen subplot always investigating other, like what Matt as Daredevil is doing as a vigilante, right? So that was always
Yeah,
like,
You mean keeping the
So
story going?
right. So like she's investigating one part, he's doing his thing, right? So we missed that. So like we could have had this whole season as like an investigation of Foggy's death, right? And then it leads to the end where you find out, hey, it's Vanessa that was behind it because she was doing something at was it Redport, and
Red
then you
Hook.
tie Red Hook, and then you tie in
Yeah.
like this thing, and then so you can have like the Hector Ayala stuff as like a subplot, like an episode, but it's there, but in the background we're still it's Foggy's death, right? Foggy's death. We're investigating the crime, and then I think that's where like the five families could have came in. We could have like delved deeper into them. Um, like
Didn't get
I
any
mean, yeah, they're
resolution
not
from
gonna,
that.
but yeah, but I mean, they're not gonna be like Madame Gao or Nobu or Owsley, right? Like they're their own, you know, characters, right? Like that was an
Are they though?
eclectic group.
Or we don't
No, no,
know.
no, no, no.
We don't
Like
know because we
I'm not
never
talking
got
about.
that.
I'm not
Like
talking about the
that's
five. I'm not talking about the five families. I'm talking about the other, like those five. The like Nobu, Gao. They're their own like eclectic group that we. I mean, they were fun. We got
because
you
they
know.
were characters and
That's
they
what I'm
were
saying.
written that way. Had
But
we
that's what
gotten
I'm
that from the
saying.
five families, it would have been a better narrative
Well, that's what I'm
because
saying.
then,
So
like you said, it would weave in that mystery of even they were remember like to bring them up. Remember how back then even they were trying to figure out what's Fisk's plan, what's his plan, what's his plan. They were doing that, but they still had, like you said, their own stuff going on. But we followed that. We were able to see, okay, a little bit of here, a little bit of there. But with these guys, they're faceless nobodies.
well, no, that again, that's what I was gonna say. Like you
Oh, okay.
spend the season building them up, right? We learn about them.
Yeah.
We can even have an episode about them, kind of like we got with the Russians, and then we got Nobu. Like that fight with Daredevil and Nobu was
Mm-hmm.
amazing, and I think that would have helped episode 5 out more because we would have been like, all right, cool. Now we have like Devlin and Luca, and what is their role in this whole like Red Hook scheme? I think if you would have just focused on this Red Hook scheme with Foggy and like Vanessa and stuff like that, that could have really overarched the whole story, even between Vanessa and Fisk. Like, okay, yeah, sure, he went away, blah blah blah. All right, cool, but then he wants to come back as mayor. She doesn't know why, but she wants to keep running this laundering, like money laundering scheme out of Red Hook, and you can kind of see like, well, now he wants to do something with Red Hook, but he's not telling her what. So that you can kind of see how that's kind of a clash, and then that could have been the reason why they went to therapy, right? Like, but I think they could have used more time in the episodes. None of these 47 minutes, 42 minutes. You could have built up the rampant crime that this last episode said, and I mean, I'm guessing they're just figuring it was Muse's 60 body count, but like you could have shown up the rampant crime of the five families,
Yeah.
right? And then
They should have been the ones causing the riots to
yes,
happen. Like
I think so. Like I
because
think
because now all of a sudden like oh riots are happening, like
yeah.
cities on fire, like all this stuff, and then
I mean, I guess people will be people, but I think I mean I love the
yeah, with
Muse
that
and
stock footage that they used in the BB report.
yeah, yeah. I
Hey,
mean
I
I
didn't see
love
no Spectrum News. I didn't see
no.
Spectrum News at all this episode. So
I love the Muse, but like there's a lot I liked, but I felt like they could have done more. Like you could have built up the criminal aspect to make it to give Vanessa like her own like let's see her be the queen pin of crime, right? And then let's see
yeah.
Fisk do his mayor stuff, and then we can figure out, hey, in the end, maybe that you could. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you just remove the therapy part at all. I don't know because I mean, look, Heather Glenn dies in the comics. I'm pretty sure she gets fridged or something. So to me, that would have been the she. I think to me that I mean, if you were gonna do Muse, I think she should have that's where like you could have used this whole season building up Heather as Matt's girlfriend because I didn't really get that from them.
No, because they don't.
So
They
and
they show you like a glimpse every now and then. They
yeah,
throw some romantic music, but the way that they painted it was like, oh, she's dead. Like
yeah,
she's meeting her maker because they
yeah,
made it so emotional and so like, oh my God, they're in love like you've never seen like this before in any of the other episodes or anything like that. They were trying really hard to illustrate that relationship and then all of a sudden it's just like a petty fight slash breakup, which like it's just really weird the way that they went about that. And yeah, she should have died in the last episode. That should have been what set it off.
Yeah,
That should have
and I
been it. And then take it, like you said it perfectly in episode 1 or episode 2, when we were predicting of what would make a really good story, is that we need Vanessa to die. We needed something, like you said, the juxtaposition between the both of them, both sides of the coin. You need to do something crazy to get them to work together against odds, against everything. It's about, putting stuff aside and working together. And they set that up perfectly at the beginning of episode 7 or
yep,
6 with Muse. Like
yep.
when, he's coming in, like, had Heather been the final victim, or Vanessa had been the victim, or whatever it was, like having him come in and, like we even said before, tease him at the end of episode 1, tease him at the end of episode 2, something to set him up as the bad. And then when it happens, you're like, oh my god, like you're caught off guard. You can't believe it's happening. Like it's about setup and payoff. And they don't know how to set up. They know how to set up routes and all these little crumbs, but they don't know how to pay it off. They don't
Yeah.
know what it takes to get there, the path to tell a good story. They copped out, dude. Like they went the easy route. They went fan service, and like I said, I still believe that it reads as though they wrote this real quick and just handed it in and said, "Yep, here we go. Let's, start rolling. Let's get it going." And you also brought something up in the past too about how they had reshot this, how some of it's left over, some of it you can tell is Frankenstein.
Yep.
You had said something in one of the last videos, and you said they should have just scrapped the project.
The whole thing.
They should have just
Just
taken the
restarted it
loss.
and
Yes,
restart the whole thing.
Daredevil, born again, born again.
Yeah.
Like just a redo, a hard reset. And that's why I'm real curious. I'm honestly kind of curious if it's gonna get a season 2. I mean, because
Yeah.
they
I
can
mean,
film it and say, you know what, like, oh, we're gonna do it, but depending on how it does, I think it will, just based off of the Oh, your camera went away. You still there? Can hear you, and we're
yay,
back.
we're back. I don't know what happened. The whole thing was just flashing red downstairs. I just went down and unplugged it.
It was too much amazingness. It was
Yeah, I don't
just
know.
it didn't like what we were saying about the show.
Yeah,
It
it was Disney. It was Disney cutting us off.
was getting too real. What happens when you speak the truth? So overall, what did you think?
I'm gonna bring it up so I can look at the episode still shots again. I mean, hmm, okay. Overall, I did enjoy most of it. I did feel like there was a lot left off the table. Um, I really do think they need to consider doing, if they're going to do like 8 episodes, they really need to make them like an hour long, because I do feel like they kind of gave us like all bone and no meat is
Yeah,
how it is, if I'm going to use like a cliche analogy here. Um, because again, I don't mind you opening the season with a murder mystery of Foggy Nelson, right? I mean, it's not really I mean, we know who killed him, right? But we don't know the why. And I would have loved had they unpacked the why over the course of the season. Like they didn't even have to use Karen. I mean, you could have used Cherry. Give Cherry a bigger role. He is a private investigator now, right? Like use him
hmm
as the one being investigating, and then you could have moved on and developed. Used more screen time. Developed Matt and Heather. We could have got that sense that they were actually in a relationship. You can keep the White Tiger because that brings on that starts the Vigilante Task Force. you probably could have done that in one episode, maybe. Um, like again, if it's an hour long, you definitely could have got a lot of that done in an episode.
Yeah, and it needs a
Um,
dedicated episode for that to be able to
yeah.
set this up and be like, okay, this is a pretty major thing, but they literally shoehorn it into one
Hmm.
episode, like not even one episode, like a couple of
Yeah.
minutes, like
Well,
5 minutes, if that.
yeah. I mean, yeah. And then again, if you use a lot more of the time to boost these five families, like give them a role. Like, let's see Vanessa be the queen pin, right? Like, I feel like because she was just kind of because originally they had recast, they were bringing in another person to play Vanessa. Because again, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure initially this was not going to be a sequel series to Netflix, so they were just doing their own thing. They were just bringing back Cox and D'Onofrio. So they originally had someone else as Vanessa. That's why in the therapy sessions you always see like Vanessa from the back, or they're kind of like they're not really in the same shot together. So
yeah,
you know it's just like, well, this is why they shot, current Vanessa and then they shot Fizz because
they had to
they probably were
redress
not on,
it.
yeah, they weren't on set at the same time. So when they brought her back, I was like, all right, cool. Like just redo the whole thing, give her a Queen Pin storyline, and then you end either or in the penultimate episode like that, right? You end it with Vanessa getting shot by Bullseye. That would to me would make Wilson go unhinged and shut down the city. And by the way, I'm almost certain a mayor has no authority to call martial law. Don't care.
No, no. I kept thinking
So
about the movie The Siege the
yeah.
entire time
Um,
that scene
but
was
again,
happening.
again, you can see him maybe working in the background of right, like him. I mean, that's what you can give Buck that stuff to do, right? He seems like he's gonna be because I'm sorry, Daniel trying to blackmail people just doesn't come off as threatening to me.
Yeah,
Um, but if you have that mysterious figure like Buck, like Wesley was he was unassuming, right? But he was deadly serious. And in the background, you could have had Wilson Fisk still being kind of like a pseudo kingpin and getting all that dirt on all like the councilmen, the council people, and then maybe even the governor who does have the authority to call martial law, right? So if he needs something from the government, like, hey, I want to call more, like, he's unhinged, right? Like, say Vanessa gets shot at the end of episode 8. He's unhinged. He wants to shut down the city, unleash his task force, go after all vigilantes because, Bullseye killed Vanessa. Boom, that's believable.
that would have given him something to work off of too. Like
Yes.
watch D'Onofrio unleash, like
Yes.
just anger, like that, and that's what was missing is emotion.
So,
Is it was more just like let's show rage, but not
yeah.
really. Like the only time I ever felt like we actually got that was when he was beating Adam up
Yeah. And I mean,
in
again,
the
I don't
cellar.
believe,
Like that's
I don't believe Vanessa would cheat on Fisk. I would
yeah,
more believe since and again and that's where you could have gave her a more beefier role, right? All right, Fisk goes away for a year or whatever it was, how long they didn't even say, but he went away. I think it was like what 5, I don't, it doesn't matter. But then you kind of see her taking over his empire, not just running it for him. Like yeah, maybe it started like that, but then she gets the taste of the power. She wants more control of it, and maybe that's why he runs for mayor because like well I can't get that power back, so I'm going to become mayor and kind of take it away from her a little bit, like I don't know,
yeah, where it
something I
becomes
don't
like this
know.
like tango between the two
Yeah.
of like it becomes a power struggle. The power
Yeah, and
dynamic is
then
off.
the therapy sessions mean more, right? And then when they finally work it out, that's when they were like maybe she comes, he's kingpin, right? He knows everything, so he like just lays out, he's like look, I know what you did, but let me show you what I wanted to do with this area. And then that's when it's like, you know what? We could have been working together this whole time. And then, it's when you use the five families to create chaos, right? Or you use the task force to help shut down the city. Because I would believe that the five families created the riots, then everybody's just going to riot, right? Like, but then I don't know if that would work if Vanessa gets shot and he just shuts like riots because he's in a raid. But I'm just saying, like
No, it
there
does. It
was
does because it goes with the character.
yeah, he could have
Everything
just
you
he could have
said
made the phone
literally
call like
goes with the characters, with what the characters would do
yeah,
naturally
he could have
because
made the
of their
call
habits and their history and who they are. Like, yeah, he could
he,
have made the call,
and
just
just
been
tell
like,
him, hey,
"No, like I need it now." Like that could have
like
been like a
just
really
raise
intense
hell,
scene.
like raise
Yeah,
hell.
like seeing him like slam down a phone or like breaking a phone. Or, you know what
Yep.
would? Oh, having said that, breaking the desk because that
Mm.
desk is
Oh
brought
yeah,
up
that
so
that
many
desk cap.
times.
Yeah, that would have been
Like
cool.
had he had like broken that desk in half or something like from his rage, like that would have been poetic.
And then you
That
would
would
have
have been a
saw,
beautiful scene. That would have been like, oh my god, like it's just
and
like
then you would have saw like the real fear in what Sheila, right? You could that would have been like that could have
yeah,
been her point. Like, oh, I'm stuck here. Like, I can't just leave now. Like, I'm. She definitely fears for her life. That would give her motivation to backstab Gallo. I mean, Buck would just be like, my guy. I think
yeah,
Daniel would be still a little afraid, but he'd be like, you know, he'd have like those, sparkly eyes at Wilson, but
e-
he'd enjoy it. Like he would enjoy it, but he would still be like, oh, like definitely not
exactly.
gonna, because he could have been like, man, that could have been me, when I was on
Yes,
ketamine.
because yeah, like it instills and it illustrates the fear. It
Yeah,
establishes fear because right now it's all fluff, it's all talk, and then the Gallo head smash just it was
they tried to recreate the
this
card the car door scene, and
they
then
they
they
tried,
just
but that's the thing is that like with that it just looks so bad. And I think it's not just because of how it looked, it felt off for what they were quote unquote going for, at least what we wanted to see. Like if we were to stick with, let's call this season 4 of
right.
Daredevil, like it would have been a little more, I guess, methodical is what I'm looking at, more thoughtful, or like using his body,
Mm,
like breaking his head against the desk.
yeah,
Like Gallo comes into the office, they're there, and instead of him like slamming the desk in half, he's using Gallo's like head, just like smashing him over and over until he breaks the desk in half. That, having
yeah,
said that, now like that would have been more impactful, especially because you constantly see the interaction they have. Gallo is coming into his office. Gallo's constantly coming into the office. He's being summoned, he's coming in there, and then like yeah, the loss of Vanessa, he could have even said something to trigger that, I think maybe the loss of your wife isn't making you see, oh, like, or something like that, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
just something to where it would have set him off, and like it just, oh, it would have it would have been so much better than what we got.
I think now that I think about it, we probably I think they should have just went to the full like. I mean, again, I understand uh, the I guess the predicament they were in because they were shooting it. It was supposed to be 18 episodes. Then they had to overhaul it. But I'm just thinking of like a what if scenario. Like if they had just started this with the people currently on it, right? Not trying to stitch it together, and then they just hey, it's like hey, you get 13 episodes. You get 13. Let's make them 50 minutes to an hour. Then you could have like really like also include the music because the way I was positing this was 8 episodes, probably not enough time, at least for me, for Muse, right? Like the way I would want it. But let's make it 13, even 12 episodes. Then you can have like a Muse arc in between, as everything is getting built up, and then you're like, all right, well, all this chaos is going on about vigilantes, and then maybe he's taking the time to become a serial killer, and then you could really have maybe more sessions with Heather and giving her more like role than just being Fist and Vanessa's therapist. You could have given it to Bastian. You could have kind of seen him really go down that, and then she could have had that guilt factor. But I really think like if you were gonna do it, she had to have died.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's because you need stakes.
Yeah,
You need stakes in these episodes and in this show. There are no stakes. Everything,
outside
as
of
I've
Foggy
said
dying. Yeah,
before, yeah, but even at that, I even said in the first episode, I'm like, "No, I didn't feel anything."
Well, like I got
It was
Foggy.
unearned. Like
I
it
got like
was because they fast forward so much through that first episode of we got to get to him dying. Like he's dead within what the first 10 minutes
something. Yeah.
of the episode, if that. And it's like, but then they're also trying to like they don't ever establish what this show is. They don't establish the environment. They just throw you in and
Yep.
say, take it at face value. This is what it is. And then we get the crappy CGI. We get the exposition, which is just they're just spitting exposition versus just a natural conversation or something. It is all of this within the span before the credits even start of the first episode, and that's supposed to set the tone. And then boom, 1 year later, it's like no. And
Yeah.
we talked about it too. Like if you wanted to do that, it needed to be a full episode and it needed to end with Foggy dying. You don't kill
Yeah.
him off in the first 10 minutes and then say, oh, yeah, this is us setting the tone. Because then what are you going to do with the rest of the episode?
Yeah.
And
You're just setting up. I mean, again, and that yeah, like I think if we were like doing our like what, and then yeah, you spend the rest of the season doing and what I would have liked is the investigating of why Foggy was killed, right? Like I don't
yeah,
even think I would need the 1 year later. I'm not even sure.
no, you don't.
Um,
You don't need it. You need because they could have had like the whole trial thing happening. Not even. You could have just like you said it so perfectly a little while ago with Cherry. How they could have used Cherry. He could have been how Karen was the investigative
yeah,
type in the previous seasons. Cherry could have absorbed that role and said, you know what, and give him something to do.
yeah,
Give him, an arc, build him up as a character. Because if he's going to be our new guy, like you need to give him something. You need to give him more screen time, something to. I don't know who this guy is,
yeah. Nope,
and
just a retired
that's what they.
cop. That's
Yeah,
all we
and that's
know.
what they did. They gave you cliche, one-dimensional characters that I'm supposed to care about these people
Yeah.
in the final episode. Like, no, like I don't care anything about them. Though the thing with Cole, the with the
See, I
task
don't.
force, like they give him like a quick again exposition, like less than two
Yeah,
minutes. Like who he is, all this stuff, and then you're supposed to care, and it's like I don't really, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's the one that did it. Like it's
yeah. I don't
like
like the.
really,
So he was a character in the run where Fisk was mayor, and he does lead like an anti-vigilante task force, but they weren't like going out murdering people like that. Like he did have like a code, and he actually becomes an ally briefly for Daredevil. And but I don't like what they did with like they should have just made it Powell that shot him. Like
yeah.
they should have just made it Powell because that to me that would have been I don't know what Cole's motivation was to shoot what okay he doesn't like vigilantes so he's just gonna I mean I don't know I just
Yeah, at least Powell would have been more believable because
Powell
it
would have
was
made Powell would have made
established
it would
already.
yeah it would have been obvious but I mean still I mean but
But
that doesn't matter
yeah,
right
because it
like
would go with the
yeah
character, with what we've been shown, what we've been established. Because man, how much screen time did he get? He had a
exactly
lot of screen
yeah
time just to be shown at the end of like, oh yeah, we care
we're huge
about you,
fans
man. Yeah, we follow you. We want you to lead us, and then that's it. Like no, like he needed to meet his end at the end. He should have been one of the guys in there
yeah
in the apartment, but like no, it's all led up to that. But
but I know the Punisher
we just
special is
wrote a
all going to be
better
about
story,
that
dude. We wrote a better
I mean it would
story.
have I mean I don't know I don't know if it would have been better but it's definitely one I would have liked to have seen right like again I
Yeah, it
don't
would have
have
been more cohesive.
yeah
It would
I
have given
again
us a satisfactory like quote unquote season 4, but it would have given one, it would have given some fan service. Fans would have been happy.
yeah
Two, it would have stayed faithful to the characters and their arcs and their motivations and their principles and their modus operandi of how they are
yep
versus what we got. It felt like Mad Libs, dude.
yeah
It really did. It felt like just fill in the blank and they're like, oh well, this is what I'll do. Just it's just stupid. It almost felt like a really crappy version of Choose Your Adventure.
Yeah, I did like I said, this gave us the bones, right? And I'm okay. It was decent, but I really felt like they left a lot of the meat and potatoes off. Like you've laid the foundation, but we needed that substance. Like, and if that means like let's do a 13 episode again, hour long, and then I wouldn't mind episode 5, the bank robbery, as much. I mean, again, I think that's a great one off episode, but it did nothing for the season. Why did it do nothing for the season? Because I don't know who these bad bank robbers are. Like, if you build up, why are they robbing this bank? To steal this diamond. Why are they stealing this diamond? It just seems random. Okay, is it because they owe 1.8? Is it because Luca owes 1.8 million dollars? Why don't you say that? I don't. They don't. I don't think they ever did. Again, if you I don't know, they could have just done more with the five families, a criminal element to it with Vanessa. Then you could have had like another, like I appreciate them trying to do a few stories, right, all in one. They're trying to tie a lot of some of the more popular Daredevil arcs in the comics together, like the Mayor Fisk, the Muse, um, the cops adopting Frank's logo, all the anti-vigilante task. But they didn't do it. They didn't tie it all together well, and I think it's just because you needed more time. Like, you could do 12 episodes. You could have had it. You could have done it all. But I don't know. I don't know if they just didn't have the budget, if they were over budget and they couldn't do it. I don't know. You can't tell me they didn't have the budget. I mean, it's Disney, but again, I don't know. Like, I think they definitely, if they would have from the beginning just said, you know what, this is going to be a season 4 of Netflix. I think they probably would have turned out a better product because they went into this thinking it was going to be their own thing. So then you had to tie in the Echo and the Hawkeye stuff to Kingpin, which I'm still trying to figure out the timeline of stuff right at the end of season
That
3.
that's what I mean though,
So
man. It's
yeah,
like none of it's so uncohesive. That's why I do not stand by this series
yeah,
at all because it's an amalgamation of delays, reshoots, lack of vision, lack of consistency, lack of cohesion, just not a care. The only ones who cared were D'Onofrio and Cox.
yeah.
They're the only ones who cared.
I'm like
Like,
looking at
and
the episode 6, and it's just Muse's face, and it's just amazing. And I still love his costume. Sorry.
yeah, I mean, dude, his costume, like, Halloween. I'm down. I'm down to be Muse
Like,
for Halloween,
and
man. It looks
maybe we
sick.
did only. I felt like they could have just been like sprinkling throughout the episodes, like start out with, hey, you know, like use the BB report. Hey, missing people. Honestly, it would have made more sense for BB to go investigate than Angela, but that's just
Okay,
give.
because we had to shoe in Homegirl. That's why. Because she just needed to show. God, oh, you know what?
Yes,
God, when they showed her at the end of the episode, I don't know if you heard me, but I was
yeah.
like, where's that cop? Put a mask on her. Like, take her out.
But like, you could have used her.
Like,
Like,
just
yeah, she could have
please
been
spare us.
investigating the corruption of. I mean, honestly, you didn't. You don't even. You could have used BB to investigate
Well,
Foggy's death,
well,
or maybe
Think about
Cherry and
this.
BB's working together.
They shoehorn the line. Remember from the last episode, they shoehorn a line right at the end with her being, I don't always report under my name. I
Exactly.
go under like it's like little too late.
Yeah.
Little too late. That's something that should have been shown again. Could have, like you said, it could have built her up. Her being the investigative, her and Cherry teaming up would have been really cool.
Something.
Let her be like take over if she wants to take over Ben's mantle.
Yeah.
That would have been better. But instead, we get like these random little YouTube shorts where it's like, oh, hey, this is what I think about life
Yeah.
in New York.
It's like,
And
yeah, they just created her. Like, remember, look, it's this is a sequel. Look, here's a Uric, and they were just like, let's just insert this. Like, no, like she could have
fan
been the
service.
one. Like, initially, like, okay, I don't know. Yeah, she's like, she knows Fisk might have killed her uncle, whatever, blah blah blah. So she's interested in that, but that could also lead her into the Foggy discovery, right? Like, I don't know. They definitely could have done more with her. She could have been the Karen Page, if they didn't really want to bring Karen Page back, which that's fine. Okay, cool. Foggy dies. She's over
Turn
it.
dips. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
and
can't be
then
around this anymore.
maybe Cherry's doing some. I don't know. They maybe it's just too many characters. Maybe you don't need Cherry at all.
No, no, that's the thing, dude. We've said it before, is that they had everything at their fingertips.
Yeah,
Everything. They had the characters, they had the story, they had the time, they had, honestly, they could have done it in 9 episodes. They squandered all of it.
yeah. There's too. There
There's
was, now
some
that I'm
stuff
thinking
they
about
could
it,
have cut, but they didn't use the time. They squandered it.
there was
And
too
they
many
wasted it.
characters.
They wasted their time and they wasted ours as fans. Like we sat here watching it, like I've said, my optimism was dwindling to the point where like I was even saying I don't want to watch these episodes anymore. Like it's just like why? Like but it was that little shred of hope that I still had. Maybe they'll pull it off. Maybe they'll pull it through. Maybe, I'm too close to it.
Yeah,
Maybe there's something, that'll come through. And then this last episode cemented it. I have no more good faith for this. Season 2, it better be from scratch.
yeah,
I would even say different showrunners because again, you even said, they could have, come in and this is what they inherited. They still rolled the product out. They still put their names on it. They still said, "Yeah, we stand by this." And yeah, I mean, again, same guys that gave us Moon Knight. Same guys that gave us Moon Knight, and
yeah,
honestly, it's the same way that I feel just watching this. Just cut up, bastardized, fix it real fast, get the storyline over, get us to the end, set up, rinse, repeat. And
yeah,
yeah, that's what this last episode felt like. And like I said, the one nice thing I will say about it is the apartment scene. But again,
yeah,
Frank's carrying most of that. And
yeah,
you couldn't even rely on your main character to carry the final episode. You had to bring in the fan service. You had to bring Frank in. You had to bring Karen in because they couldn't hold the story. And they were they were probably the best parts. And the sad thing is, brought it up a little while ago. They spend the whole time talking about old episodes.
yep.
Oh, you remember this? Oh, you remember that? You're again. I would rather be watching these than this. You reminded me of better times. I honestly might throw on the original Daredevil series just to like wash this taste out of my mouth and scrub my brain of drill.
Yeah,
But uh,
but I will say the
so
one.
out of 10,
Well, I will say, like when he said we need an army, because like I said, I saw the set photos and he's wearing his Shadowland
yeah.
suit. So when he said he needed an army, I was like, okay, I think I might know where this is going. I legitimately thought at the end somehow he was gonna go and get his army of the Hand. Electra would be alive somehow, and the Hand would be his army. Because again, in the Shadowland arc, he becomes the leader of the Hand, and he tries to use them as like a force of good. So how do you combat an army? You need an army of your own, and then I'm pretty sure he's just going to use the people of New York. Which, okay, cool, but I mean, if you're going to adapt Shadowland, I mean that was Other than that, you bring in like Luke Cage or Iron Fist or Jessica Jones. I mean, but that's what I thought. That's what I thought. At the end, it was going to be like going like maybe Nobu's. Not, I don't know if Nobu's alive. I don't know. I
I
can't
think
remember.
he died, if I remember
I'm pretty sure he
correctly.
died. Yeah,
If I
I think
remember
like what
correctly.
season 2, right?
Yeah,
But
something like
I
that.
know Electra died, but I mean, I'm just somehow she comes back. Maybe the blip somehow brings her back. I don't know. It
You
doesn't
just
matter.
wanted a Lottie, dude.
Of,
You just
of
wanted a
course,
Lottie.
but
And I don't blame you.
that's where I
It would have
thought
been
that's where I
better.
thought it was going, because if they were gonna do the Shadowland storyline, then
It
that would have
just
made
cuts to
sense to
Matt
me.
standing there, and you just see like the arm of the hand,
Yeah,
the arm of
or
the
like just
hand,
him
the
approaching,
army, just like, and just stand.
Electra,
Yeah, like that.
or just bring back Madame Gao. Maybe she's the new leader of the Hand. I don't know.
I thought Gao died.
I don't remember,
I'm pretty
to
sure
be
Gao
honest.
died. I
I don't.
think so. Um,
I know it wasn't in any of the Daredevil.
I thought it was Defenders,
It might have been. I don't remember
or
that
I
show
thought she
much.
died at Defenders.
I remember Elektra killing Sigourney Weaver and thought it was amazing, and then that's pretty
Yeah,
much it. And the building falling on Matt and Elektra. That's pretty much all I remember.
right
Like,
in season 3. So with that being said, if
if I were to
so if we're
rate
gonna
this,
adapt, that. Oh yes, let's rate it first. Let's rate it first.
honestly, I think it had some decent highs. It had some low lows. Overall, I think it's kind of, man, I don't know. Do I got to rate it compared to the Netflix show, or just rate it in general?
So
You know what? I think it's a solid 6. Because there's, like I said, there's a lot I did like. It just left me wanting more. So if I'm gonna like, because usually when I go into stuff, I don't rate anything at it, and it's usually it has to be at like a 5, right? Then it takes me up or it takes me down. I don't know, or it just leaves me right at a 5. But I don't know. Like there's a lot of stuff I did like, but again, it just left me wanting more, and I know they could have done more, and maybe my
fair enough.
expectations were too high, but I think it's 6.
A 6.
6.
Gotcha. Yeah, I different on my end. I'm giving this one. I'm leaning towards a 3. I would say a 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah. So the only reason I say a 3.5 is that apartment scene
Yeah.
is what saved it.
Were we doing the whole season or the
Um,
episode?
the episode.
Oh, the episode.
The
Yeah,
episode.
6. Episode 6, season 6.
Episode 6, season
Yeah,
6.
yeah. Like this episode was a 6, and the whole season I think was
Oh,
maybe like
okay.
a
Oh,
six
okay.
point
I got
five. I'll give it a 6.5. The Muse stuff was great.
for
Yeah,
the for the episode 3.5, again, because just the little fan service that they had in there did. um I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't like it. I did like that fan service, but again, I have to be realistic, it was unearned, it was ham-fisted, and it was just too late, way too late. Now overall for the series, probably a 4.
4.
Yeah, if that. Yeah, 4 for the series, just because there was, like I said, man, my hope dwindled, and it felt like that little shred of hope that I still had. I was hoping they'd turn it around. And I even said after episode 6, they had 3 episodes left, 7, 8, 9, and that they needed to be bangers. They needed to be bangers in order to pull it off and make up for everything else, but they weren't, dude. They weren't. The choices that they made story wise, just no. This show deserved better. The cast deserved better. The fans deserved better. They failed.
Yeah. Like I said, I definitely wanted more.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think like 4, because it's so weird because like 4 followed 3. Like yeah, 3 followed 2. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, but like 2 ends, or I mean 3 ends with Ayala getting shot, and then picks up right with episode 4. You see Frank, all that stuff, and I believe that one ends with Muse, and then we get episode 5. That's just like again, I like the episode, but it's just like, what are we doing here? And then it continues on with episode 6 and 7 with Muse, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's a decent 3 episode. I would have liked more Muse just because just absolutely that costume's amazing. But again, if that's all we get, that's all we get. But I still think they could have done more. And then it, goes into episode 8, and all I remember is, that's where it's just like, okay, now we're bringing back the the bullseye stuff, and all of a sudden what do they call it? Like the Deus Ex Machina. We're just gonna bring in this plot. Like, hey, now
Yeah,
Bullseye wants to talk, and then that. But again, if you had like I don't know something in between where it was like a background investigation, it could have led him back, and it's like what? And then that would have been like okay, so
a
Bullseye,
better B plot.
yeah. But it's just all of a sudden it's like all right, we're gonna throw this down because I don't know, but yeah, like I think there could have been more in the middle that led to episode 8 and 9.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. Like there's things like I said they could have done that. So going in order from the beginning of the season, episode 1, I stand by it. It needed to end with Foggy's death, not the first 10 minutes, because then they squander the rest of that episode. And they do. Like they could have done a lot to set up things. They could have done a lot to establish characters better. And then you don't see half these characters for the rest of the season until the end. Now,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, that like it made me. I mean, I laughed. I visibly laughed at the end when they showed the detective. She's just all looking all gruff and whatnot. And
everybody's
I'm like,
back in
okay,
justice.
Cherry and the detective, and then these random cops that we've never
Yeah,
seen.
that's where you should have
Like,
had Brett.
yeah, you should have had Brett. You should have honestly,
That
they
guy's
should have
probably a
had
captain
they should
now.
have had it filled up more with more
Yeah,
cops because they made it seem like it's like, oh yeah, there's no good cops. Like there's nothing. And again, a big issue with that is it strips hope out of the show. It's like you need to have that balance. You need to have the good and the bad. But that's how they chose to write it. Is that no? And then even the characters themselves are like, no, no, no. Like there's no hope in the show. And it's just it suffers because of it. Like it's yeah, I honestly I have nothing else to say about this show. But
nah. At this
yeah,
point,
I'm just
we're just rambling about it. We kind of just
yeah, like
regurgitated
we're
the same stuff.
ranting.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I'm irritated.
we
I'm
just
so irritated, and honestly, I will probably never watch this again. So
I mean, I might do a. Yeah, I don't know. It just depends on what I'm doing when
yeah,
season 2 comes out.
yeah.
Just I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe.
we'll watch the recap. We won't
Yeah,
hit skip.
maybe.
That'll be enough.
Again, there's a lot I liked. It just left me wanting more. It's pretty much what.
There was a lot I could have liked. I wanted more, but the quote arrow, they failed. They
lot
failed
of good
us,
ideas. Just it was not executed to the degree I was expecting.
especially with writers who are established and directors who are established holding this project. It's
That's okay.
just
When we rank the show amongst other Disney Plus shows, we'll see where we're at on that. The other Marvel Disney Plus shows.
oh yes, so much to look forward to. Anything else on the topic of Daredevil Born Again,
No,
Robert?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, the good news is we don't got to wait like 2 years for another season. So allegedly,
Yeah. Yeah. Time will tell.
yeah. But
Time
no,
will tell.